in Africa, you know how we do the show. So we get to have great conversations. We get to really how we do today, how some of the discussions yesterday. We were able to look at some of the dimensions of behavior. So we'll be able to know how it starts with our day. So we'll also look at markets. consistent services they are providing. So consistent, even in the founders, the team, they are always consistent in every assignment they are given to attend to. So also they are consistent in everything, and also in making the ecosystem better. So as an individual, it's good that you are consistent in anything you are doing. There's always this saying, a lot of people are not consistent. So you try out a particular project, you try out a particular business, a particular course, and because maybe things are not as you have it in mind, maybe you didn't put out much effort, or you didn't stay consistent at the course. Maybe because of how things are unfolding, you leave, and maybe you're almost at your breaking point, and you give up. So do not give up. Be consistent in whatever you are doing, irrespective of whichever the industry you are. Are you in the blockchain space? Are you in the fintech space? Are you in the maybe whichever space it is, the oil and gas industry? Are you in trade, commerce, and whatever it is? Be consistent in whatever you are doing.
Effectively, even in Naira, I believe that.
So it has also helped us a lot also here, being consistent. That's one of the reasons, talking about consistency, or one of the reasons why we're also here, waking up every morning, looking at how things are, because anchoring this show, it comes up every 7 a.m. West African time, and it's a lot of it's very early for you to wake up and come on the show. So it's because of being consistent, because we're always here to be consistent. So as an individual, trying whatever you are doing, as long as you know you are the right cause, you are doing the right thing, be consistent. You'll see that the sky will be your starting point. So I don't want to dwell much on that. As time goes on, we'll also be expatiating on consistency. But for now, we need to go for a break. When we return, we're going to be looking at different markets. We're going to be looking at stock market, commodity, FS, and the crypto market. Don't go anywhere. We are here for you. We'll be right back. welcome back. It's still Good Morning Africa, live on Cnetv. So we are going to be looking at market updates. We are here to keep you informed. Let's see how the cryptocurrency market, the commodity, the stock and FS market, how they are performing. We saw that yesterday our markets were recovering, most especially the crypto market. They were recovering. I don't know. This morning is as if although the market is not that bad, but it's not better than yesterday. When we were here yesterday, the market was better than it is today. Looking at the entire crypto market capitalization, so you will see there that the entire cryptocurrency capitalization is standing at $1.322 trillion, $1.323 trillion. So that's what is actually standing at the entire cryptocurrency market capitalization. So if you look at it also, the 24-hour volume, the entire cryptocurrency 24-hour volume is 90 billion. So it's 99.1%. So that's how the entire cryptocurrency market is. Let's look at the coins. We still have 13,424 cryptocurrencies that are listed on CoinGecko, and also we have 617 cryptocurrency exchange. So we look at the top cryptocurrencies by market capitalization, actually faring, and also stay tuned. We'll always be updating you with what is really happening in the cryptocurrency ecosystem. So let's take a look away from cryptocurrency. Having seen how it is, the market is not that stable, but it's not. The top cryptos are not really doing well. The only one we could see there, which has really gained, but not much, is BNB, which gained about 1%. So away from that, we'll move to let's move to stock. Let's look at how the stock market is like. I know the stock market. We'll just take a little of them there. You see Apple there is currently trading at $143.11 there. So that's what Apple is currently trading at. So next on that list there is Microsoft. Microsoft is currently trading at 260.65. And you look at Intel. Intel is currently at 42.00 there. Cisco is at 43.35, followed by JP Morgan at 124.60. So we could see that stock is also recovering. They are doing well there. All of them that we have looked at, they are shining green there, and this to show that the market is not doing bad. We move over to commodities. If you look at commodities, just take a look at gold. Gold is currently at $1,849.51, followed by silver. Silver is at 21.697. Next there is copper. Copper is at 4.2995. Platinum 945.35. So that's how far we can go on commodities. I'll move over to FS. So we're also making efforts when it comes to FS to get you some of the top, like I said yesterday, some of the top African currencies, fiat currencies, to be giving you what they are trading against USDT and some other top crypto, not crypto, top currencies. So maybe it's euro and pounds. So if you look at on that list, euro against USD is at 1.0672. Pounds there against USD is at 1.2576. So USD against Japanese yen is at 127.69. USD against Canadian dollars is again at 1.2803. Australian dollar against USD is at 0.7083. So there are others there. So I've just taken we have looked at the top currencies there trading against USD. We see that the market there is also trying to recover, not doing that well. There are different currencies. So this is just to give you a brief about how the market is, and also we are always here for you. So we are also looking at getting you many programs will be coming up here. We'll be able to dissect some other programs where experts in those areas will be able to dissect and also do some market predictions there. So this is how far we can go on market update. So we are still moving forward on the show. Good morning, Africa. Do not go anywhere. We'll be going for a short break. When we return, so we'll be looking at some of the top headlines. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. It's still Good Morning Africa live on Cnetv. So we've been able to look at different discussions here, our motivation for the day. I will also been able to look at we've been able to look at some markets, looking at cryptocurrency market, stock market, commodity, and FS. So let's go straight to the headlines that we have for today, and also we'll be able to, after the headlines, we'll have some conversations, and we'll be able to welcome our guest who will also be helping us discuss about some of the trending headlines that we have here. So number one on that list is we're looking at some investments in Africa. So that's one of the number one trending story that I have here. Crypto Valley Venture Capital launches African blockchain early stage fund. So I see that a lot of investments are coming to Africa. So, and it's a very good one. If you check at some of the statistics, a lot of those investments comes to South Africa, Nigeria, Egypt, and Kenya. Yeah, so those are the major areas where most of these investments go to. And we are also happy to see that a venture like this has been launched in Africa for blockchain early stage startup. This will also help. If you look at so how that story is there, so you see that it's a welcome one. So a lot of people are looking at how to invest in Africa. Africa is a fertile ground. I know there have not been much investment when it comes to blockchain space. A lot of those investments that are coming to Africa mostly goes to Fintech and other sectors. So we see that there are green light there for the crypto and blockchain industry players and startups. So another story there is also still on investment. You see that African crypto startup raises 30 million to build a Web3 WeChat. So that's another one, a project. I know it was that project was launched by two siblings there, looking at how they will be able to build replicate WeChat. So that's a very nice one, seeing them wanting to build a WeChat, and we believe, and it's going to be on the blockchain network. So how is this going to happen? So I know this platform is going to be changing how things are being done. So this they are also looking at a metaverse, most especially play to earn. Those are not only what they are going to be looking at. So they want to change the economy. So you see what WeChat is actually doing in China. It has really turned things around for the good. So some of those headlines from, most especially from Forbes, this story on Forbes. In the past year, play to end games like Axie Infinity has really dominated, and all the rest of them. So this will also help. So I'm so much concerned here that they were able to, and this is at Series A fundraising. So they've been able to build, and I saw a lot of investors coming there to put up $30 million for this. So it's going to be a very interesting one there. So next there is World Economic Forum. I know the World Economic Forum is currently going on in Davos. So discussions, bankers at that World Economic Forum, they are seeing reasons for caution when it comes to central bank digital currencies. So I don't know what actually, but we see that nations are looking towards CBDC. I made mention of that yesterday briefly about CBDC, and it's a welcome thing, something, but I believe deeper study should be done, deeper research should be done when it comes to CBDC, central bank digital currencies. So these bankers coming up with these discussion, they are asking that nations or central banks should also apply some caution when it comes to CBDC. Do you think caution should be applied? We have seen that Nigeria has really launched. We see that China, they are making a study there. I see like America also taking a study, South Africa, and even Ghana. A lot of countries, both Africa, Europe, and America, they are also looking towards CBDC, and we see CBDC. How is it going to be done? We don't want a CBDC that will just be more like a banking app. So we want something that will also give autonomous to the people, and when it gives such freedom when it comes to how you handle your money, it will also help the ecosystem. But I know the Nigerian CBDC, the e-Naira, has met a lot of criticism, and I know deeper research should be done there. So next there is eBay. eBay has dropped its first NFT collection to non-crypto mainstream buyers. So we also heard that away from eBay, I'll say, Instagram is also working on that as well. Instagram is working on getting their own NFT. You see, what I like about NFT is that it has really given opportunity for people who are not mainly into crypto and blockchain, giving them reason to come into the ecosystem. You see a lot of artists are looking at it, institutional bodies are looking at NFT, and this way they are also coming into the blockchain space. So that story there is really saying that eBay has dropped its first NFT collection to non-crypto mainstream buyers. So e-commerce giant eBay has officially launched its NFT drop with a series of tokenized collectibles featuring National Hockey League legend Wayne Gretzky going live on May 23rd. So the NFT collection depicts an animated version of Gretzky that were inspired by Sports Illustrated magazine covers. So that's a brief about that particular eBay NFT collection. So it's a welcome one, for a very good one for the industry players. So also looking at Luna story, we'll also be looking at what does it mean, what does the law mean, and also what does it mean for UST. Let's look at what really happened. What was the law saying around the UST, the stable coin that crashed. That was around 16th of this month. That's last month or thereabout. So last 2 weeks thereabout. So the crash. We're going to be looking at what are the implications of this crash. What is the law saying about it? Because yesterday I made mention that we have not really seen any much reaction from regulators around the globe, and seeing any arrest or anything, because a lot of money was wasted, we were lost there. So next we'll also be looking at CNE, that's Coinnews Extra Dubai Media Tour. So we'll be looking at what are some of the things. Our team in Dubai is having a media tour in UAE, Dubai precisely. They have really met a lot of industry players over there. So one of the places they've been to, the private office of HH Sheikh Ahmed bin Faisal Al Qassim, they were able to make those visits, and they were able to talk about some of the ways. That was one of the reasons why I'm happy, like the earlier headlines talking about Crypto Valley Venture Capital launching African blockchain stage fund. So those are some of those discussions. How can investment be brought down to Africa? So those are still talks that are ongoing between CNE and that office. And also the team were able to meet some other industry players in that region, so to discuss possible partnership and some way we'll be able to bring more investment into Africa. So we want, because what we stand for is we want to project Africa's innovation and creativity to the rest of the world. So there are a lot of talent, there are a lot of innovations and innovators over here. So the funds are needed to foster what they are actually doing. So this are just a brief around this discussion. So SEC is going to be Nigeria SEC regulation is also part of our headline. So we are going to be dissecting that. Is one of the other place when we have our guests, we are going to be paying attention on that. We're going to be getting his insights, or he is going to help us interpret it from his own point of view. Do well if you have comments about it. I'll do well to drop them on the comment section while we are streaming live on our YouTube channel, and also do well to drop your comments there. And also, if you have, or if you are on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, check us out at Cnetv1. You can as well drop your comment, and also follow us always to get the latest news and gist when it comes to blockchain, crypto, and fintech. So I will be going for a quick break. When we return, we'll be ushering in our guest who will be joining us to dissect this. He has a legal background. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. It's still Good Morning Africa, live on Cnetv. It's been an interesting conversation so far. We've been able to look at some of the trending headlines. We've been able to look at different markets, the stock market, FS market, commodity market, and also the cryptocurrency market. So we're going to be having some discussions. You know how we do it on the show. We'll help you not only giving you the headlines and the news, we also help you to understand it, dissect it from different perspective, from different. So we have been able to have different guests from different backgrounds. So today we have a guest from a legal background. He's a legal practitioner. So he'll be helping us to discuss different topics, headlines that we have today. So we'll also be measuring our discussion on the Nigerian SEC cryptocurrency regulations. So let me welcome our guest, Senator Ihenye, who is the President Stakeholders and Blockchain Association of Nigeria. You're welcome, Senator.
Thank you very much.
It's our pleasure. Good morning to you, and we are so happy to have you today.
It's always a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on the show. It is Good Morning Africa. So we are saying good morning to the entire African continent and the rest of the world. So let's have this discussion. I know you've been interfacing with the regulators. You've been, because you are the leader of a CBAN, Stakeholders and Blockchain Association of Nigeria. So coming up with these regulations, I know is not, it has met a lot of criticism from the industry players. So let's start with the Nigeria SEC cryptocurrency regulations. Before I throw the of my own questions, I would just like to get what's your own overview of the entire regulation.
All right, thank you very much. In terms of the SEC regulation in the digital assets sector, I believe that it is a welcome development and it is a significant move forward by Nigeria, especially when we consider the fact that this is the first time that any Nigerian entity, any Nigerian government entity has taking a stand on cryptocurrency by way of a substantive regulation of that sector. So it is a welcome development, and I have to commend the SEC for taking the bold step amongst other regulators to say it is high time Nigeria had a regulation for the virtual asset sector. It is high time that players in that sector are recognized as players within the Nigerian capital markets and largely the Nigerian economy. So it is a welcome development. Because this is an overview, of course, there are often pros and cons about anything, including the SEC rules. There is concern or there are concerns regarding certain aspects of the rules, especially when it comes to the licensing structure and the issue around whether these applicants who will be coming for the licenses will have access to banking and financial services. That area isn't clear. And because the SEC has not accompanied its regulation with a statement, as it usually does, there is a lot of, we have some gray areas here and there that needs to be cleared by the SEC. And so a lot of persons are in doubt as to what is the way forward from now.
Okay, thank you very much for that. I have a lot of questions there. When it comes to crypto assets, I want to know, before I start coming with questions from the regulation by the SEC, is the only SEC that has the power to regulate crypto assets? Are there other regulatory bodies involved?
All right. What determines which agency of the government has jurisdiction over a particular cryptocurrency or crypto assets depends on the features of that particular crypto assets, as well as how it is classified by the agency. So if we go back to September 2020, the SEC issued a statement on the classification and treatment of digital assets in Nigeria. And there it classified crypto assets into various classes, namely one, crypto assets such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the others will be classified as a security. He then also said that crypto assets can also be classified into utilities, and utilities will be treated as commodities under the Nigerian Investment and Securities Act. He then also recognized the place of derivatives, which are basically values that are derived from crypto assets and utilities. So based on that classification, the SEC will have jurisdiction because the SEC has been established under the Investment and Securities Act to regulate things around investments and securities. So whenever a crypto asset is being used as an investment or security, the SEC will come in, including when projects are launching, ICOs, initial offerings, or whatever you call it. As long as you are raising funds or raising capital through the members of the public, the SEC has jurisdiction over that. Where other regulators come in, such as this BN, is when you use the same crypto assets for the purpose of things that are regulated by the Central Bank of Nigeria, such as when you use crypto assets for remittances, you use it for as a medium of payments or medium of exchange, when you use cryptocurrencies for cross-border transactions, or you get into the business of savings and loans using crypto assets, that is where the central bank will have jurisdiction. So it is not a matter of once one agency has jurisdiction, the other is out, not at all. The jurisdiction of any agency will depend on the powers of the agency over the functions that crypto assets provide for their users or adopters or promoters.
Okay, interesting. That's a very interesting one. Thank you very much for that. Let's look at it this way. Does it mean that now that SEC have come with this regulation, the CBN stand against crypto still stands? So is there no contradiction there? How are we going to be able to pay for the licenses?
Interesting. And this is the biggest question on the lips of many players in this space, including those who intend or plan to apply for license. There is currently no statement or clarification by the SEC about the status, the ability of these players to use bank accounts. In the past, the SEC has made an argument that there is no contradiction between its plans or statements regarding the regulation of crypto assets in Nigeria and the position of the Central Bank of Nigeria. The SEC, I recall, made that clarification following the central bank directive in February 2021 restricting crypto transactions in Nigerian banking and financial services. Then a lot of players, including the associations, including CBAN, raised concerns about the contradiction between the SEC's plans to regulate crypto assets in Nigeria and the CBN position regarding access to bank accounts. But the SEC argued that there was no contradiction although we didn't think that the argument was compelling. Now it is right on our faces. The SEC has proceeded to regulate crypto assets in Nigeria. There's now a licensing and registration regime in Nigeria, and it expects players to come forward to apply for licenses. Whereas the restriction in the banking and financial sector, as long as crypto assets is concerned, is still there. We have sought to know from the SEC what the position is. There is no official statement by the SEC, as well as the Central Bank of Nigeria, as well as the Ministry of Finance, as well as the Nigerian government about the state of things right now. But the deduction that we are making from what we have on the ground right now is that the SEC has decided to exercise its statutory powers under the Investments and Securities Act to go ahead and regulate the sector within the boundary of investments and securities and commodities in Nigeria, which is a legal and lawful step. The SEC may have left it to the players themselves to sort themselves out with the CBN regarding banking and financial services. That is the area that it looks like we will be having some challenge, because if the SEC is unable to convince the CBN review its position regarding regulation of crypto in and banking and financial services, having passed or issued this regulation, it is well, it's left for the imagination what associations like CBAN, associations like Fintech Association of Nigeria and others would be able to do regarding this contradiction that we have right now. I believe that talks are still on. I believe that the regulators, including the Nigerian government generally, will indeed intervene in this. Perhaps after some time, we would be able to have some clarity regarding this very uncertain issue.
Okay. What does it really mean? So if I go ahead and pay for a license, am I going to, since there is no bank account for this project, what do I benefit at this stage if I go ahead with the license? And also I want to know, has the regulation been enforced, or is just a statement that was released?
All right. First of all, for those who are interested in getting license and come within the regulation of the SEC, it is possible for steps to be taken towards applying for that license and registering with the SEC according to requirements contained in that SEC rules for digital assets and providers. But as to whether they will have access to bank accounts, like I said, this has not been clarified by anyone. And I do not want to preempt what the CBN or the SEC would do. I believe that the SEC, having issued that regulation, would be able to help facilitate the payment of the licensing fees and registration without much hurdle. The problem, or if you ask me, the real challenge from how I see it, is not only about the virtual asset service providers, such as the custodians, the offering platforms, as well as the exchanges, having to have access to bank accounts. Remember that these players are also going to be relying on persons such as you and I and the members of the general public to transact or do business with it. In other words, apart from exchanges and all of them having access to banking and financial services, we would also be interested in having their customers, millions of Nigerians out there, also have access to their bank accounts for the purpose of transacting or doing business with these licensed or to be licensed service providers. That is what the real issue is. It is not enough for the SEC to say, all right, we have spoken with the CBN. This is the corridor through which you can pay your license and registration fees. That's just the beginning. The real thing is having to say Nigerians can now transact using their bank accounts with these exchanges, platforms, and custodians. That is where the real issue is. So I do not think that this issue can be resolved by just having the CBN, say, cooperate with the SEC to facilitate payment of licensing fees. We need Nigerians to also get back to banking with with their various banks. You will recall that that many Nigerians have had their bank accounts closed or some frozen because of this issue. So all that has to be reviewed, if you ask me, before we start talking about facilitating the payment of the licensing fees. Having said that, you also asked the question about when indeed this a regulation comes into force. The way that I understand it, under the Investments and Securities Act, which establishes the SEC, the Investment and Securities Act gives the SEC powers to make rules and regulations such as this one that it issued about over a week ago. Now, under that rule, the SEC is expected to submit the rules made to the Minister of Finance for the purpose of the Minister of Finance having a copy of it. According to the rule, if within 15 days of releasing the rules, the Minister of Finance does not question or asks that the SEC should amend these rules, the rules take effect immediately, 15 days after issue. If you look closely at the rule itself, it is signed and dated 11th May 2022. That means that 15 days time ending or terminating 26th May, from 26th May of this month, 26th May, that rule becomes effective. And no one will be able to review that rule or change or amend it except with the powers of the courts of law. So that's the position of things right now.
Okay, having said that, 15 days is almost by the corner. Has there been any word from the Minister of Finance, Nigeria?
If there has been any, I believe it hasn't been made public. The Minister of Finance has not issued any public statements regarding the SEC rules, but the rules take it for granted that as long as the minister does not raise any eyebrow or ask for any review or amendments, the rules will just take automatic effect. So if that silence remains till 26th of this month, that rule cannot be amended by the minister any longer. It becomes an issue for the courts, except the SEC itself brings or SEC itself, perhaps based on the arguments or advocacy of these affected players, who then say, okay, we also see reasons why we need to review certain aspects of these rules. We will issue an amended copy. Right now, if things go ahead the way it is right now, it becomes effective and binding on that sector.
Okay, interesting to hear that. Let's look at it. Peradventure, there is no word from the minister, from the Minister of Finance, Nigeria. You have a legal background. You are a barrister. So do you see, is it a good option for the industry? Because I still have some questions here. I see a lot of industry players, startups and companies lamenting about it, ranging from different angles. Do you see after the 26th of this month, do you see, is it a good option for the industry to come together and take a legal action?
Well, first of all, I think that we are in a democracy. And in a democracy, every individual and entity has a right to, exhaust all legal.
Hello, Senator. Okay, it's as if we have a lost senator there. So very nice conversation it is there. So that's why we bring it. We'll bring people who are knowledgeable about this. Okay, he is back. Please continue. We lost you for a while.
Oh, sorry about that. So I think that it is the right of every individual and entity in Nigeria to exhaust all legal options, including the courts, for the purpose of pursuing their lawful cause. But having said, it is also important to say that I think that the virtual asset sector should really get together and then review every provision or section of that rule as issued by the SEC and have a position on every one of them, and then articulate its position and have these position, communicated to the SEC and other relevant authorities. This is important so that the SEC will have at least the benefits of knowing what the issues the virtual asset sector providers, service providers actually have. It is not enough for virtual asset service providers to go to the media and criticize the rules. It is not enough for us to advocate without really engaging the regulators or SEC specifically about it. I am aware that certain players in the space are writing or have written, as a matter of fact, the SEC on this. And so we also know about a coalition of exchanges and other virtual asset service providers in Nigeria who are also coming together to say, this is what we think. So we think that that engagement needs to happen. If the SEC then sees reasons why it should review its rules, then I think things can go on from there. I do not think that this should be seen as drawing a battle line between the regulators and virtual asset service providers. I do not think so. I think that this is the time for us to try our best to get on the same page with the SEC, seeing that the SEC, amongst other relevant regulators in this sector, apart from NITDA, is the most progressive so far as virtual asset service regulation is concerned. So I think that they need support. I think that they need a knowledge sharing session. They are not a session where we're throwing stones and breaking bottles. I do not think that should be the case. So as the CBAN president, I'm very happy and I'll be delighted to lead efforts in that area. I am also the secretary of the Blockchain Industry Coordinating Committee of Nigeria, which encompasses all of the players in the space. We will be able to engage the SEC at that level so that the SEC can see reasons why certain aspects of the rules may need to be reviewed.
Thank you very much. Talking about having some discussions with the SEC, I know I have some questions around that. Has this conversation been going on? But I will tell that we'll be going for a short break. When we return, we that question. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Okay, Senator, we're going back now. Thank you.
Great.
Welcome back to the show. It's still Good Morning Africa live on Cnetv. Very interesting conversations has really been. I've been able to be looking at SEC Nigeria cryptocurrency regulation and joining us to dissect this amazing thought is in the person of Senator Ihenye, who is the president, Stakeholder Engagement of Nigeria, CBAN. So we've been looking at it, and he is a legal practitioner. So he has already been interpreting this for us. So let's look at, you were saying having some dialogue and some discussions with the regulators, the SEC. Have this discussion not been going on before this regulation came out, or was the industry stakeholders not consulted for this law or regulation came out? Was it that everything that you discussed with them, is it what is playing out now?
Thank you very much. That's a very good question. The industry's engagements with the SEC particularly did not start today. It's been for a while, since as early as 2017, 2018, the industry started engaging with the SEC regarding the need for Nigeria to have a more progressive approach towards crypto assets and virtual assets generally. And the SEC took up that baton by ensuring that it set up a committee, started with set up a committee that was the Fintech Roadmap Committee, a very comprehensive committee. One or more of the players from our sector was also a member of that committee, trying to set out the roadmap for fintech and virtual assets in country within the purview of the SEC. That went on to give birth to another committee, which was much more specialized and took more members, from the sector. It was this virtual assets regulatory committee, which also looked at how the technology works and how the SEC within the Investment and Securities Act can intervene in that market and help that market grow, right? So that's the second stage, which led to the SEC out its readiness to regulate crypto assets or digital assets generally in Nigeria. It was not until that disruption by the CBN, specifically 5 of February 2021, that we experienced some bit of lag in terms of the engagements that the industry was having with the SEC, understandably, because the CBN is a very powerful regulator in the financial services sector, and there was no way, understandably, the SEC would have been able to just proceed as if things had happened. So we needed to give the SEC and other regulators some time to look at how to coordinate better. We also engaged NITDA, the National Information Technology Development Agency, about this, which brought about the need for Nigeria to have a national blockchain strategy, which was a draft that was issued some time ago. But with all these engagements, doesn't mean that what the SEC has issued in rules that came out doesn't mean that it reflects all of the engagements and all of the intentions and vision of us in space. Not necessarily. We cannot. It is the sense answer to all the questions or requests that we have made. The reality is that the SEC, being the regulator, is still the one that will determine what it takes and what it doesn't take. Well, at this point, what the SEC has done is to, as far as it can, try to at least recognize the virtual asset service sector, recognize and give some legitimacy, and legality to players in that sector. I am aware in terms of stakeholder engagements now, specifically speaking to these rules, I am aware that a number of members of the various associations, including the Stakeholders in Blockchain Technology Association of Nigeria, CBAN, where I am the president, have raised concerns about what they believe, and I also agree, is the lack of industry engagement before these rules were released. That's the part. I think that the SEC could have done better. Why do I say so? I am aware that the SEC to certain stakeholders in this space be released or issued. But a lot of persons were a bit taken aback or surprised by the fact that the SEC goes straight to the substantive regulation. Now, I'm not questioning the SEC's under the Investment and Securities Act, where it is required of the SEC to specifically issue exposure drafts to all the members of the public. As far as I'm concerned, under the rules, it says that the SEC should make efforts to work with stakeholders in that sector. Perhaps this SEC, in its own wisdom, believes that by reaching out to a select number of stakeholders, it has already met that requirement. But by way of suggestion and improvement going forward, advice or suggest regulators should always take very seriously the idea of having exposure drafts made available to the members of the public, not even on the stakeholders only, because this is what we are used to actually. In other climes as well, where CBAN been affiliated to global crypto and virtual assets associations, we get to review exposure drafts released by the US Securities and Exchange Commission or the Reserve Bank or the Commodities Commission every now and then, and not less than 3 to 6 months is given for members of the public and stakeholders to respond to any draft. So, case in there, what appears to have happened that the exposure draft was not made public, it was circulated among set players, and then in doing so, many people lost out. Now, everyone is on the table clamoring that this is not the rules, reflecting, the intentions or the vision of what they think that regulation of the virtual asset sector should be. Even amongst those who were selected to review these rules, I have also received communication to the effect that many, if not all, of the suggestions that were made were not also considered or taken into consideration by the SEC eventually. And some of these guys believe that it shouldn't have been so. And so all that media, reaction we are seeing in the media, this just, what I've said, I think justifies all of that. But we have, at least in CBAN, we have tried to prevail our members, see how we can articulate our position and have the SEC perhaps consider concerns that we have. I hope this helps.
It helps a lot. Let's look at, thank you for that insight. Let's look at, when we talk about this, we'll be majorly focused on SEC. We have looked at CBN. Don't these government sector, let me say, the green chamber, so the lawmakers, like the House of Rep and the Senate, don't they have a role to play here? Does everything lie on the hands of SEC and CBN?
That's a very fantastic question. Indeed, lawmaking process as well as rulemaking process, regulations are not things that are solely in the hands of agencies such as CBN, SEC, NISTA, and all of them. In other climes, you find that it is in fact the legislature that drives policy and regulatory conversations, ensuring that every rule or every regulation or every law that is issued in a country reflects the wishes. Of course, Nigeria practices a representative democracy, which means that every lawmaker in the country should, as a matter of fact, be taking feedback from their constituencies and reflecting the wishes and aspirations of their constituency members in the laws and regulations that eventually get out there. Now, I understand why you would wonder if it is just the CBN or the SEC that does or takes care of this business. It's such a critical business that we cannot leave the National Assembly out of this. Indeed, the National Assembly has also been very concerned about the direction the blockchain and cryptocurrency conversation is taking in the country. Although the initial intervention of the National Assembly, specifically the Senate in this sector, alarm about the use of cryptocurrencies for facilitating money laundering and terrorism financing, and made those statements before the relevant committees of the Senate. That has been the only time that the National Assembly engaged very closely in this sector. But I am also aware that especially the Senate Committee on ICT and Cybercrime have been very interested in this area. And they are, in fact, they've been very progressive. They believe that what Nigeria needs, given the growing or the fast-growing adoption of cryptocurrencies and in Nigeria, there's need for regulation. And they also do not think that we should be looking at total ban and restrictions that might stifle innovation. But as you would imagine, conversations in the National Assembly involves processes. You have to, submit papers, appear before committees. Committees need to understand what you're talking about, because national interest and public interest and private interest need to be balanced as well, to ensure that consumer protection, investor safety, the soundness and safety of the financial system are not compromised because we want to push innovation. So it's a conversation that we are having. Currently, the Stakeholders in Blockchain Technology Association is in talks with certain relevant committees of the Senate regarding this issue, and we think that it is an issue that also needs legislative support. And so, yes, it is a conversation we are having. Increasingly, you will find that the National Assembly will get to pay more attention to this, I suspect. But because of, we're in the electoral season, a lot of electoral campaigns and primaries are going on at the moment. And so this might, witness some certain hurdles or challenges at this time. But I have no doubt that the National Assembly will be able to, help in this. One of the issues that the National Assembly has had is capacity, and this is an open. It's an open issue. Everyone understands, or most players in the industry understand that because cryptocurrency, blockchain, there are new innovations in the in technology. Our National Assembly members, both senators and honorables, will need a lot of support in terms of capacity building to be able to effectively and efficiently respond to this issue, so that all of their intervention in the space will be guided by and meet everywhere, as most times we find in this space a lot of myths and things that you cannot support by data are being driven around in the virtual asset space. I remember when when sometime in March, there were 3 senators on a working visit to the tech sector, including the virtual asset service sector. And I had the privilege of meeting these 3 senators in my capacity as the CBAN president. And I recall that one of the issues that was raised back then was the need for stakeholders in this industry to support the National Assembly in terms of capacity building, in terms of training, so that they will also be in a fine position to engage the sector, right? So interventions will not be preconceptions or stereotypes, but rather, just like the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo would say, it should be we should be driven by knowledge, not fear, so that the regulation that comes into the space, does not stifle innovation, but expand opportunities for the Nigerian economy.
Okay, thank you very much. I want to know, with this SEC regulation, does the National Assembly have any role to play? Like, can they intervene and change some certain things there that maybe direct the SEC to adjust some of those guidelines?
Okay, well, the issues have not been articulated in a way that the system imagines to intervene, and based on the rules and laws guiding lawmaking in the country. I am aware that the rules that the SEC has made, you call subsidiary legislation. Subsidiary legislations are made by agencies established by the law or made by the National Assembly for the purpose of ensuring that these agencies take care of specific sectors. Now, the reason for this is because the National Assembly cannot make law directly for every sector in this country. Therefore, they have agencies that they are empowered to do so. Now, the way it works is the only reason why the National Assembly would be in a position to review, amend, or call back, or even say that the rules made by the SEC or CBN or any of them need to be reviewed or amended would be if the SEC has encroached upon the jurisdiction of other agencies in doing this. Or perhaps the National Assembly determines that the rules the SEC has made is in conflict with the powers that it has donated to the SEC as far as rulemaking is concerned. For instance, the National Assembly could say that we are not convinced that there was adequate stakeholder engagement during the process. Therefore, we want the SEC to review this and engage more stakeholders and then come up with an amended, regarding virtual asset sector. That is also something within the powers of the SEC, of the National Assembly. But like I said, except the National Assembly determines that the SEC did not follow rulemaking process that it ought to have followed, or that it should have followed, I do not see the National Assembly calling for the SEC to amend its rules. But this question really reminds me of one of the recent cases, very recent case from US jurisdiction. It was a case where the court had to question the part of course, the counterparts to the Nigerian SEC. It questioned the power of that SEC in the US to make certain rules. It did say that the rules were beyond the powers given to it by the legislature, the US Congress. These are conversations that, as Nigeria's democracy continues paying more attention to the subsidiary legislation being made by agencies that are set up. Forgive me for if I digress. For instance, when say the directive made by the CBN on 5th February 2021 restricting cryptocurrency transactions in Nigeria's banking and financial system. That directive was made based on the powers of the CBN under the Central Bank Act, Central Bank of Nigerian Act 2007, and of course the Banks and Other Financial Institutions Act 2020, BOFIA. Now, these two rules, BOFIA and the CBN Act, they are laws made by the National Assembly to guide the actions and powers and authorities of the CBN. And if you ask me, for instance, if I were sitting as a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and not just bearing the name as I would probably be one of those who will be moving the National Assembly to to that move by the CBN under review, because as far as I'm concerned, that directive is beyond the powers of the CBN. Why do I say so? When it comes to rulemaking, that we do not create offenses not created under the act establishing you as an agency. There is in Nigeria no law, no single law in Nigeria illegal or criminal. So for CBN to say that cryptocurrency transactions are not allowed or permitted in Nigerian banking and financial system, it has gone, the CBN governor should have been called to order, because that's outside. And just to let you know that I'm not just talking because I'm a legal practitioner, I'm just saying what I know. This is it. Just October last year, there was an issue before the courts regarding whether the CBN had the powers to issue that directive. And the Federal High Court by Justice Taiwo in Abuja division, one of the positions of the court is that as long as there is no written law in Nigeria that illegalizes cryptocurrency transaction, the CBN's directive of 2021 is beyond its powers, it's ultra vires. And to the extent that it is beyond its powers, that rule or directive is null and void. It is as if it was never made. That was the statements of the Federal High Court in October 2021, how it is for agencies to comply, or to adhere to the primary statutes establishing them. I still challenge, the CBN to, look at that rule again. We do not need courts to tell us that powers. If there's any reason why that rules survived in Nigeria for more than a year, it must be because they are not taking the rule of law very seriously in this country. In a place where there's rule of law, such rules are very, very, very.
Sorry, yeah. Was that a court directive used by the CBN?
As for now, from the records I have, where that has been appealed, not aware, but I have the certified true copy of that rule, of that case ruling, and that ruling website or publication. Why CBN not complied with that? If there are certain other things that the CBN is doing, I know that perhaps it is because the main issue before the courts that day was not about the directive, but the courts needed to make a position about the directive in order to resolve the primary issue before it. Rights Vest Technology, this is a case that is already public, already out there. So these are the things that we as investors, as innovators, whether you are Nigerian or foreigner, you will be concerned about. People come to a country where there is some to be sure that every agency of the government will always, adhere to the rule of law, no matter how difficult it might seem. We should not be a country that, selects court judgments, or if where the CBN governor and happened. It would be my issue a statement, trying to make your court understand, or make Nigerians understand. In February 2021, we withdraw that directive and go back to the directive of 2017, when the CBN said that although cryptocurrencies can be used for money laundering, financing of terrorism, cryptocurrencies are not legal tender, we don't regulate it. But if banks and other financial institutions must transact with cryptocurrency users and exchanges and players, ensure that you conduct KYC, your customer, on them. This means that the banks and other financial institutions will be able to check against money laundering and terrorism financing by just ensuring that Nigeria's anti-money laundering and terrorism finance, terrorism laws are respected, made by the National Assembly, because we are not, comfortable with cryptocurrency in Nigeria's banking system. And the thing is, whether we like it or not, eventually this is the future of finance. And as a regulator in to an extent where we will not be able to globally compete when cryptocurrencies and other digital assets begin to drive the new financial system that is bound to come to us, as based on the data-driven economy and the increasing decentralization that is coming to the financial sector and other sectors. I would like to see a CBN that is preparing the banks and other financial institutions it regulates to, for the future of finance, not scaring them off. I would like to see the SEC also expand Nigeria's capital markets based on your huge opportunities that virtual assets or digital assets provide. I would like to see the National Information Technology Development Agency, NITDA, also expand Nigeria's tech sector based on the huge opportunity, digital assets, decentralization, bring that space. This is the conversation we should be having. This is the only Nigeria would be so as a government, opportunities. The stories about poverty, about inflation, about loss of millions of jobs. Those stories, we can turn them around by just having that, by embracing this new idea about the new Nigeria, a new Nigeria that is driven by innovation, driven by developmental regulation, not all restrictive and prohibitive and, finding everyone. It's not good news to invest.
Hello, Senator. Yeah, got there. So I will take much of your time. We still have some other questions here, and also we want you to also say a brief about the P2P conference. And this will be going to be. Hello, Senator. Okay, we are going live now.
Okay.
Thank you. Welcome back to the show. Is still Morning Africa, live on Cnetv. I'm so much enjoying the conversation. As well, we are always here for you, everything you need about blockchain, all the information about blockchain, crypto, and fintech across Africa and the rest of the world. Just do well to join us on Cnetv. We'll give you all the latest update, and we are so much keen on helping you understand the SEC guidelines and the regulations that just came, the SEC Nigeria. I know a lot of people are really paying attention to this because Nigeria tend to influence the African market and other nations. So I know many nations will be looking to what is really happening in Nigeria when it comes to cryptocurrency regulations. So that's why it's very, very important that we get it right with this regulation. So very idea from Senator Inye, who is the president of Stakeholders in Blockchain Association of Nigeria, who has been throwing more light and really dissecting that particular topic. So thank you, Senator. A lot of I've been able to look at crypto asset buyers. I saw some publication. I don't know if it is by you, but I saw a publication by on crypto asset buyers, and it's also really like dissected the CBN, the SEC regulation that just came out. So I know you made mention about the industry players that have been hammering on the licensing fee. How do you say about that licensing fee by SEC?
Thank you very much. When it comes to regulating this sector or any sector, that there is usually that requirement to go through a registration process, which involves all. Now, in terms of the approach the SEC has taken, it looks fees is one big way of also ensuring that that certain level of players are able to access the virtual assets markets. The fees as based on reaction by of players in the space, it is believed that the fees are quite on the high side, especially for local innovators. There are local innovators, local companies who are playing the sector in Nigeria, even against the background of the regulatory approach that we saw, especially coming from the CBN. And so these are players or innovators who have been putting resources to ensure that they play in these markets, in nascent and in markets. And then now we have more like the hammer drop license fees. We're looking at 30 million naira for registration. We're looking at 500 million naira in terms of a paid up capital by anyone who wants to play the digital asset custodian or play as a digital assets exchange, as well as anyone who wants to play as a digital asset offering platform. I have spoken exchanges in the country that operate in the markets, a number of them, even including those that are foreign exchanges operating in the Nigerian markets. And they have concerns, express their concerns to me. The fees, they believe that the fees are on the high side compared to what in other regulations, where the regulators have in other times have tried to take this from a stage by stage. It usually starts from having tried the sector, by kind of registration, some transparency and accountability in the markets. You also want to ensure that you have a license system that ensures a fair and open market. You don't want to shut the door to those who may not have the money or the share capital to play in the space. So these are the concerns. If you are to operate, you will necessarily have come up with 30 million naira registration fee and a paid up capital, whether in assets and cash or in bank account balance. You just need to have it. And so that Well, they be able to get on and get this license. They may consider the fees, to be within reach, especially when you consider how the naira has devalued over time. I mean, if you bring some good dollars into the Nigerian market, you might be able to raise 500, have that 500 million share capital, and 30 million naira, anything stressful or onerous for you at all. But again, I speak for also local innovators in the space. What I understand is that the licensing fees could have started from a lower, phase, and it could have been much more lower so that we can at least encourage innovators in that phase, given that it is a nascent market. Let's not forget that. We have seen all the money that could be made in that space. I've seen people publish figures about millions of dollars in transaction weekly, but we should be carried away with that. We should be focused on the technology and how we can, drive or create a Nigerian market that will encourage investors from all around the world to establish here, here, have people employed here, have the technology also built here. Let's not forget that all of these players to also rely on one infrastructure or the other. I would be concerned as a government if we can also have some of these infrastructure providers, set up in Nigeria. So we don't be in a situation where it's all about foreign technology and Nigerian markets. You see what I mean? We cannot make the mistakes that we have made in other sectors in this sector, most especially because Africans and Nigerians are known to be leading in this space. We are leaders in terms of building stuff, in terms of running businesses. Nigerians are leaders in this space, or at least one of the leaders in this space. We should have a licensing regime that we encourage, those who have all of the dollars or the yuan, to convert to naira and get the market off. Again, as a president of CBAN that comprises both local and foreign players, I have to be fair in my statements. And that's why I say that what we need right now is a level playing ground that ensures a fair, transparent, and efficient market, not necessarily about the money.
Okay, Senator, I know some industry are not complaining really because I know some are complaining because the fees are high. Others are complaining even though the fees are high. What the SEC will have also count is that difference between local startups or companies and foreign ones. I know you made mention about that. Let's not dwell on that much because of our time. Let's look at still on the SEC regulations. Nigeria taking the lead here when it comes to regulation of cryptocurrency in Africa, like they did in e-Naira, the CBDC aspect of it. Are there other countries in Africa that have released regulations and licensing fees like Nigeria did?
Thank you very much. Nigeria is also leading in this space in terms of regulation of cryptocurrencies or digital assets in the capital markets, that is within the investment securities, commodities, and purview. It doesn't mean that Nigeria is the first mover in terms of recognizing or regulating various assets generally. It's been a while, a country like Mauritius, which is also an African country, has recognized virtual assets as a financial innovation, as blockchain and digital assets and how it can disrupt and create opportunities for the Mauritius economy. And so there is already Mauritius in that map that has taken the first step. And the way Mauritius has done it is not to start with the agencies like Nigeria has done. In Mauritius, it has been the legislature in Mauritius that passed a law. It's actually an act. They have an act, that recognizes virtual assets and players in that industry. And then they introduced a licensing regime that allows persons come forward to register and play in that market. This is the reason why Mauritius has been attracting many or a number of investors, foreign investors from outside Africa who are setting up in Mauritius and doing business there. As a matter of fact, some of the brands we know globally today have Mauritius as their headquarters because of this regulation that they have. As far as I know, what they have done in Mauritius is not to have definite fees, that are published in rules and all that. No, what they want is to keep it as open as possible so that the fees will be determined at the time of application. So it's that open over there. I think that Nigeria could as well, perhaps take some lessons from there. We may not need rules that, set out fees that are cast in stones. We may need to also, look at who is applying, is there markets, what nature of transaction, what product, how risky are the products or services they are offering. For instance, we talk about digital asset custodians called DAC. Digital asset custodians are store, save, and maintain digital assets. That's pretty risky of keeping digital assets in a space like ours. You would expect that you need serious players to be custodians. You don't need to million naira because that's very key. Digital assets. But custodian or custody. When you talk including exchanges, that it necessarily has to be so much money. It should be more about who are those, what is your corporate governance, what is your risk level.
Senator, because of these, it has
yes.
taken this question. Who is this? Who needs it?
Well,
who does it apply to?
Okay. The SEC rules apply to players in Nigerian capital markets or
this license now.
This that are to be issued under the new rules. The first one is for digital assets offering platforms. These are people who will be entertaining or accommodating the sponsors or promoters or issuers of different digital assets projects looking to raise capital, what we call ICOs or whatever. These are the guys, the digital assets offering platforms will have to get licensed to be able to allow on use as a launch pad for their project, the purpose of raising capital to members of the general public. You need a license there. Exchanges, those who facilitate trading of crypto assets or digital assets on their platform will also have to get a digital assets exchange license from the SEC. And then I also understand that those who are to offer custody services will also need to apply. These are called the digital assets custodians, will also need to get a license from the SEC. But if you look closely at the requirement for digital assets custodians, the SEC has decided to keep that its discretion. What do I mean? It has not stated specifically what fees in terms of registration or licensing fees or paid up capital that custodians will have to drop before getting a license. One way or the other, I think that this strategy or approach could have also been applied to others such as exchanges, so that it is when come forward for licensing that the SEC should be able to determine.
Okay, thank you very much for that clarity. Thank you very, very much, Senator Ihenye, the president of CBAN, Stakeholders in Blockchain Association of Nigeria. So away from the SEC for now, let's look at the CBAN conference coming tagged P2P. Just briefly tell us what you have in mind about that.
Thank you very much. The P2P conference is an annual conference of CBAN, Nigeria's self-regulatory blockchain association. This is our first conference after a lot of demand by players in and outside.
Hello, Senator. Senator.
Me.
Okay, we lost you. Just you can start. Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, apologies. I think my flight time is getting close. So, round up with this. The P2P conference is a conference by CBAN, where both local and foreign players in the space will have an opportunity to meet, and also, of course, project their products and services to users. The P2P conference is one that we're very excited about. There are room for users to also come in, whether you are playing in the Nigerian market or intending to play here, whether a foreigner or a local, you can be part of the P2P conference by sponsoring. I think we have the sponsorship packages published on the CBAN website. Why I'm very, very happy about the P2P conference is because it's going to be unique in that the theme of the year's conference is models around different words. We are bringing the players in the traditional finance sector, in the central finance sector, centralized finance sector, and the decentralized finance sector together in one place. So this is where you expect to see all of the players in the financial industry actually coming together to share ideas, to network, talk about the future, talk about engagement. This is a place to be, and it comes up 8 August 2022 in Lagos, Nigeria's biggest commercial city, and Africa's second most populous states. After Taiwan, would like to invite everyone out there to participate in the individuals register, other supporters reach out. I'm happy to everyone to make conferences.
Thank you. Very self-regulatory body in Nigeria, and it has really been playing a vital role in Nigeria when it interfacing with regulators and other bodies. So very, very much, Senator. So sorry about the time you spent.
Sorry.
So we went for an extra time.
Thank you much.
So grateful. Thank you very much. We're looking forward to be having you on the show often. Thank you very much, Cnetv.
You're
Okay, very much. Thank you, our audience. Is our Good Morning Africa live on CNE. You've had it all, been able to take you down on the ST Nigeria cryptocurrency regulations. Still on the show, but we're almost we are going to be going when we return. I'll be here to summarize everything that we have done and also throw more insight.
Welcome back to the show. It's still Good Morning Africa live on Cnetv. So very interesting program that comes your way every weekday in the morning, 7 a.m. West African time to 10 a.m. So I will always be here to bring you everything and also help you get your day started. So do well to follow us across all our social media handles at Cnetv1. So we are just about wrapping up the show. Amazing conversation it has been, most especially the input from Senator Ihenye, who is the president of CBAN, Stakeholders in Blockchain Technology Association of Nigeria. So he has been able to help us dissect the ACC Nigeria cryptocurrency regulation and licenses. So he has really done well there. So he was able to look at the way we boiled down very enlightening conversation there. He was able to explain from the legal point of view because he is a legal practitioner. So let's run down on what we've been able to do this morning. We started this morning with a brief intro. I was able to usher in the program and also gave you some highlights, a rundown of what we have for you today. As usual, we were able to give you some motivation for the day. And after the motivation, we were able to look at the markets. So we looked at commodities, cryptocurrency, FS, and stock. So these are the markets we were able to look at, and we saw that cryptocurrency market is not really doing well, unlike yesterday. They are what they gained in the last 24 hours. They were able to shed it off. But it's not really doing bad. So we also looked at stock and commodity that are also at the average performance as well. So after that, we looked at some of the interesting headlines that we have. So we looked at Crypto Valley Venture Capital which launched African blockchain early stage funding. So that's a very welcome development there. A lot of investment coming in into Africa in the fintech space. We are happy many investors now are also looking towards the blockchain and crypto space. Our next headline there was African crypto startup raises 30 million to build a Web3 WeChat. So we also World Economic Forum 2022, which is going on. Our bankers at World Economic Forum, they have seen reasons for caution on when it comes to speed on CBDC. So a lot of nations looking towards CBDC. So they are seeing reasons there for caution. So eBay has dropped its first NFT collection to non-crypto mainstream buyers. That's a nice one coming from eBay there. What the law means for we are not able to look at this because of time, the aftermath of UST crash. So we didn't look at these other headlines. We paid them much attention to the SEC, which is a very in trending or something that need it worth the time. We are not stopping here when it comes to the SEC. On this morning show, Good Morning Africa, we always bring you this SEC, most especially this week. We will be getting some interpretations. You saw that on Friday we got different interpretation from different person, industry player. On this Monday we also got a different view from a different industry player. So we just want to be getting views from different. Had it been we stopped yesterday, we wouldn't have gotten this insight and also a view from the legal point of view. I'm doing my best to see if we can get from a fintech point of view, seeing if we can get a fintech industry player there who will come and see it from the fintech point of view. We will not stop there. We'll keep getting it from different backgrounds so that we will be able to understand what the SEC regulation really means, because Nigeria is taking a bold step there and other African countries are really looking at us, even though our guest made mention of Mauritius, which has a law on cryptocurrency. I know a lot of countries, a lot of companies, crypto and blockchain companies are surprisingly having their headquarters located in Mauritius. That's a very good one. But when you talk about Mauritius doesn't have much influence in Africa, but what they are doing is very fine. So Nigeria, most nations are looking at Nigeria. You saw what happened during the CBDC time. Nigeria came out with e-Naira, which I don't really know how it's really performing right now. But Nigeria is there is a movement there. So it's very, very important that we'll get it right. You know, our guest also pointed out a lot of things. Pointed out about the CBN judgment. That was a judgment by a court of law saying that CBN crossed its boundary. But we have not seen any reaction. That I now asked if the court ruling was appealed by the CBN, which we don't know yet. But I will try to get more details on that. So we also looked at who really need those licenses, and he was able to break down the different categories. He broke it down into different the exchanges, custodians, and platforms where all these crowdfunding like platforms where like likes of ICOs, that's our initial coin offerings are being hosted on. So those are different categories that this SEC regulation is divided into. So we also looked at CIA Dubai Media Tour. So our team, our media team is currently they are currently in Dubai having a media tour, and we've got some updates there. A lot of discussions on how to draw more investors into the African crypto and blockchain market. A lot of stories coming there. We'll be bringing those stories, updates as every day as they unfold. Hear about the Cnetv Coin News Extra Dubai Media Tour. So what were we able to achieve today? So a lot of things that we were able to achieve. I'm so much excited that you stay tuned to this time. This is a very interesting conversation. If you're an industry player in the blockchain, crypto, and fintech space, because these crypto regulations, it does not only affect blockchain and crypto industry players, it also affects the fintech ecosystem. So because I know a lot of fintech platforms are really paying attention on how they will be able to integrate cryptocurrencies in what they are doing on blockchain. So this is a regulation that really concerns all. So that's all for today. Thank you very, very much for your time. We really appreciate, and we also appreciate our guests who took our time to come joining us to explain this. Do well to, if you joined us late, do well to rewatch this video. It's an eye-opener. It educates you about this SEC Nigeria regulation. Thank you very much. We are looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. I'm your host, Lee Uchamohere. I'll be here tomorrow by 7 a.m. West African time to help you get your day started on this show, Good Morning Africa. Good morning, Africa. Thank you, and bye for now.